I'm very excited to be here today to hear all your experiences and maybe to also exchange how to move on to new times, how to work with collections, how to engage people in the narratives that we want to tell, that should be told. I'm standing here for Imagine IC. I put some things on paper because otherwise I'm afraid my story will go all different ways and I will go way over 10 minutes. Imagine IC is a heritage organization, and we say we are pioneers in the heritage of contemporary living together. We are an in-between between a museum and an archive. And maybe, therefore, we're also a little bit of an odd fish in the pond today. We document and present contemporary metropolitan daily life, and also theorize on this process of documenting and presenting. Based in Amsterdam Southeast, which is since the 60s a metropolitan extension where until today daily new people from all over the world arrive. In the house that Imagine IC shares with the local branch of the Amsterdam Public Library, people from the neighborhood and the city challenge concepts of who we are. We investigate, collect, document stories of daily life in this city and the country together with all those who are and who come here. The situational communities that are both in the real world and online, composed of people from everywhere, Imagine IC seeks to raise awareness of the significance of today's lifestyles as a sneak preview of tomorrow's society. And to innovate the concepts and corpus of our heritage. Imagine IC has been creating digital productions of image and sound and will continue to do so. The exhibitions as well as the education and knowledge programs reflect on communities and heritage in the changing world. Because we are a very small organization, the core team is only 4. And per project, external people are connected to projects to work. So because we're so small, we thought we have to be smart. So we think in networks. And for instance, our digital born collection, we therefore put with the Amsterdam City Archive and the Institute of Image and Sound, because they're the masters to keep it, to safeguard it, and also to disclose it to a large public. So that way, what we collect becomes part of their collection, and therefore reaches a bigger public outside of our own location. And on the other side, we enrich their collections with everything that we collect. The concept of those who are, or more particularly who come here, was at the start of Imagine IC in 1999. In the Netherlands, from the 80s, we discerned, next to the autochthonous population, post-colonial immigrant communities and labor immigrant communities, like from Suriname, Antilles, Turkish and Moroccans. From the start, our projects have been about telling stories with these people. From traditional oral history projects to reminiscence projects, from inviting first generations to look at public archives and to annotate them with their personal memories, and therefore reflect on what has kept in the public sphere, but also to find ways to write themselves back into history where they were not visible. the projects that we have done for the past 15 years go there from first generations to young people that we involve. Here are some examples of projects that we have done in the past, like Chicks, Kicks and Glory. It's the cartoon on the left, which was on kickboxing Moroccan girls. The second one, on Belief, was a project with young people with different religions, telling what it means for them to believe in a metropolitan environment. Another one on the bottom is Panas and Akas, which was on street soccer. For most of the projects in the past, we worked with artists, so they would go with the people and talk to them and interview them, and then they made translations into exhibitions. But slowly we decided that we didn't want to have the interference of the second layer of the artist anymore, and we wanted to get more the pure stories that were told and put them into exhibitions. So last year we did a big exhibition on the party scene. And what we asked young people is, can we get access to your pocket archives? Because you're collecting your daily life constantly and you're sharing it on social media. And by sharing it, you also add significance to it, because it means that it means something to you, that you want to share it with the rest of your friends, and in some cases with the rest of the world. So we were very surprised that people just gave access to their Facebook accounts and Instagram accounts and say, go ahead. So we downloaded about 1,000 films and pictures, and we made it into a big inter-archival installation where you could, as visitor, go to and you see the material, but you could also go behind the material and see where it comes from. Another thing that we do is we organize what we call, well, you can call expert meetings, but it's not about in that, I'm a bit surprised that I only have 2 minutes. I've got so much more. In the expert meetings, we also invite our storytellers, because they're as much an expert as the academics or the museum professionals. So therefore, in everything we do, we invite all to participate and to have a voice. So then I'll quickly go to the next one. This is actually the project that I'm project leader on. It's called Bijlmermeer. It's an exhibition which we created in the last year on Southeast, on the city part that we're in. And we did it with all the people that live there, work there, or feel somehow connected to this part of town. We collected the stories, we collected archival material and objects, and put it in a showcase in the library. In March this year we opened, and what we showed is actually what we called a first tableau, because we started collecting, but this is not the end. This is actually the first bit that we collected, and we keep on collecting in the years. As you can see, what we find important in also here with the big opening was that the storytellers take the stage. So they were the key for the evening. As said, the system is that we keep on collecting more and more. So this is one of the examples of an evening on sharing food and cooking food for others. It was around food traditions and sharing that traditions with others, but also using food to bring other things to the table, to have discussions with each other. This is something new for Imagine IC. The Tropen Museum had approached us and say, you're organizing these moments where you share with people around the theme ideas and you exchange the stories and the memories. Can we join you? So we said, well, we've got one on the 40th independence of Suriname, which is in November this year. Maybe that will be a good one to work together. So what we did is we organized an evening at Imagine IC, where we took an object which is on the independence on the table, and we discussed that with the people that we invited, that came either from Suriname or and were at Suriname during the independence, or already moved before the independence to the Netherlands, and reflected on their experiences of that Independence Day. And then the next thing we did is, last week, we took that same group and added a couple of more people that were interested to visit the Trophy Museum and look at what was in the collection of the Trophy Museum on the Independence Day, and exchange their ideas of what they think the objects were, or what they meant to them, but also what they thought was still missing, or maybe what if the objects that were in the collection didn't represent what they think was their Independence Day. And that's it. And then I have to leave it at that.